It's you and me, no place I'd rather be. Ding dong, hello, let's make this house a home.
Welcome to Spencer and Sarah's house.
AKA Luke Danes and Luke Danes' house. Or Butch Danes, as he's lesser known.
Oh my god.
This episode's about Gilmore Girls. And for those listening, Sarah and I dressed like Luke today. It was supposed to be just like Stars Hollow fit, but then we both sat down and we were like...
Yeah, you came on with dressed as Luke Danes, and I went, that's a brilliant idea.
What's nice about Luke Danes is like, it's just a flannel on a baseball cap. Like, that's it.
Yeah, it's easy.
I love it. Just swooned when Butch Danes took the field. God. We're getting ahead of ourselves. How are you, Sarah?
Yeah, I'm good. I did some bouldering today for the first time. So my body, I'm starting to get like feeling in my fingers again, which is nice. But when I touch things, it hurts because I've got like new blisters on my fingers.
Oh, no.
It was very fun, though I discovered my, not a fear of heights, but I don't like being above. I don't like being high up when it's in my control. When I'm relying on my arms to keep me up, I don't like it. But it was fun to face that. And my teacher, like we had like it was like a 30-minute like introductory course, and the trainer like basically stayed with us for an hour and like taught us how to do it. Well, taught me because Robin already knows how to do it, and so but like taught us how to start, and then like would like point to different tracks to try. And so like at first I was going okay, but then once we got to higher walls, I was like, I can't go any further, and like if I didn't have like the support of my legs to be able to push me up, I just couldn't move. And the instructor was really good. He was really nice about like challenging and like pushing yourself, but also really good at respecting boundaries, which was nice. However, he would whenever I felt iffy, or he'd be like, do you want to do this one? And I'd be like, okay, I can. And he'd be like, make me proud, do it for me, you gotta make me proud. And I went, don't do that, because that's the one thing that's gonna make me do it. And I don't want to. It was like full manipulation. He was like, make your teacher proud of you. And I was like, how do you know that that's my that's the one thing that I try to gain like from other people, a validation. And I was like, god damn it,
Man, this is why
like,
we can't go outside. We can't do it. No. It's too much pressure.
It was crazy. It was wild. I was like, I'm out here climbing a wall to get someone's validation so that someone can tell me that they're proud of me. What am I doing?
Girl, the metaphor. Oh man, Sarah. Uh-oh.
Oh shit.
But you know what? I am like inspired by you though. Like the fact that you're trying something new and getting out there, and like, yeah, that's fucking cool though. You're scaling walls with your bare hands. Pretty cool.
What can I say? Yeah, it was fun. It was definitely a challenge. I don't know if it's for me. Like, I might try it again just to do it, and I'll stick with level ones, because I did like once. I think doing that helped build my confidence of like I can do it. It's just like the grips. If the grips change, that's hard. And it's also my first time doing it, so it's like you can put your hands in it, but there's some where you have to like pinch your fingers. And then at some point he was trying to get me to like this. You had to like, it was like a
kind of a claw.
Yeah, but there's nothing to grab onto. You just had to palm the fucking rock and then like hope you can lift yourself up. And I was like, I can't do that. I can't. It was hard, but it was a lot of fun, and it was nice to like try something new and get my body moving differently than I'm used to. So it was a good time.
Nice. Okay, good. Yeah. I'm glad you had fun at least.
Yeah,
it's hard to like be like, okay, I'm gonna try this new thing, and then you just hate it the whole time. You're like miserable. At least it was fun.
Yeah, it was definitely the first time I went up. I was like, I don't know if I can continue on, but I was like, but I have to. I was like, we paid for an hour and I have to do this, but I'm glad I like kept doing it and like didn't give up, I guess.
Good. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I've been really social these past few days, which is very out of the ordinary for me, but I've actually really like enjoyed it. Like, I don't know how to say this without sounding kind of full of myself, so I'm just gonna say it. Like, I found out like I actually like talking to people and like enjoy being social, and like I think I'm funny, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
can't confirm.
Thank you for validating me. But yeah, so it's been really fun, especially because in therapy, a lot of what I've been working on is trying to stay present in the moment and like put myself out there. So the fact that I was like doing it, but it wasn't like I was able to manage my anxiety through it, and it wasn't as hard as it used to be, was so like, like I love to see the progress, you know? It feels like it felt really good. Like I'm really liking myself lately. I'm like, wow, this is awesome. Like I feel great. So, man, yes, that's been a win. And then I haven't been boulder climbing, but I have been trying to like work out a bit more just to get my body moving. And also I feel like weak lately. Like I'm just like, what's going on? So I bought these weights and I've been doing like these weight workouts online. And it's so funny. Each weight is only 6 pounds. But like that's the size the babies are right now. So every time I'm like doing it, I'm like, I'm practicing to like be able to hold these babies. Like I'm gonna be able to hold them both. Like it's gonna be awesome. It's just like, oh my God, it's been really, really wild. And then yeah, I'm just in the process of moving, so my apartment is it's a mess. But it's gonna be so worth it. I can't wait. My dad's coming out to help me, so I'm really excited to see him. I haven't seen my family in person since. I don't know. I thought originally Christmas, but I actually did go out there for a weekend for the baby shower, which was like a couple months ago. So maybe I don't know, but you know, it's always it's hard being away, so it's nice to be able to see them.
Yay.
And yeah, that's about it. Otherwise, I'm actually doing pretty good lately. Like it's wild.
Love to see it.
Yeah, can't wait to listen back to this episode when I'm feeling down. I can just be like, things are good. They are good. They'll get good again.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Hell yeah.
I'm very excited to talk about this episode.
Me too.
Oh my God. I actually love dressing up like Luke Danes because the more I watch Gilmore Girls, the more I'm like, I think I'm Luke sometimes. Like some of his rants, I'm like, yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
I love him. I just love him so much. They did him so dirty the last 2 seasons. I'll never recover. And I got my coffee.
Woohoo.
Although he doesn't drink coffee, so.
That's okay. I'll take that part because I don't drink coffee.
All right, cool. That'll be the Lorelai in me.
Yeah.
All right. So, what exactly are we talking about today, Sarah?
We were gonna rank Rory's boyfriends.
Yes. Oh God. What are you normally team? What are you team right now, if any?
I'm like on the fence of Team Logan, Team Jess. Because it's been a while since I've done a full rewatch, but I can feel another one coming on soon. But yeah, the first time, I think I may have said this before in other podcasts, but the first time I was Team Dean, and then I became Team Logan, and then I rewatched it another time, and I was like, I think I'm less Logan, more Jess. So I'm sure the next time I'll be like Team Jess, probably.
Yeah, I've always been a Team Jesser. I was a Team Dean the first time around, and then once it got to Team Jess, I was like, oh, okay. I think I'm Team Jess. I was instantly anti-Logan. I don't know why. But now I feel like I am Team Jess post-season 4.
Yeah.
Older Jess. That's my team right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Could have been great. Oh my gosh. That's the funny thing. This is why I like to rewatch shows, though, is because the more you watch it, the more things you notice, the more things, you see or change your mind on as you go forward. And I just love it. There's so much going on in Gilmore Girls. Like I could watch it a million times and still find a line I like didn't hear the first time. That's like suddenly funny.
Yeah.
Is how talk they fast, or how talk they fast. How fast they talk. I would not gotten the audition. I wouldn't have made it on.
I think what I also love about this show particularly is I find that like because they cover such a wide span of like life that like whenever I watch it I'm like this is the season I'm experiencing right now in my life. Because I think when I started watching it I had like just finished high school, I think, so I was like, oh, I've experienced this, and like watching the rest of hers, and then I rewatched it in college, and then after I graduated college, and so it's like I'm excited to watch it again, like in my, because I feel like that last time I rewatched it, I was like, I think I'm entering my Lorelai phase now, and I'm less Rory. And I prefer it.
Hey, yeah, I watched it post college, so only within the last few years. But oh my god, and I guess if anybody who's listening doesn't know what Gilmore Girls, like, please watch it. It's definitely of its time sometimes because it's from the early 2000s, but man, is it good. Like the writing is ingenious and the acting is so incredible. But it's just about a mom and her daughter. Lorelai had Rory when she was 16 and raised her all by herself. And she has a very contemptuous, is that the word I'm looking for? Relationship with her parents. Contemptive.
Sounds right.
It's not good. But in order to get Rory into this really good high school, she makes a deal with her parents to have dinner with them every Friday, and then they'll pay for it because they're like crazy rich and come from that like old school type of lifestyle. And it's just all about their lives, and it's incredible. And
So
we're dressed
good.
as Lorelai's love interest, Luke Danes, because he's chef kiss a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Big time. But yeah, it's great. Oh man, I'm so excited to talk about these boyfriends.
Let's do it. Should we do it in
Chronological order.
Yeah.
Agree. Yes, let's
Hell
start
yeah.
with Dean. I made a pro-con list in the spirit of Gilmore Girls.
Yes.
Frequent occurring theme. Okay. So should we explain Dean for people who haven't watched?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
Where do we start?
He comes in like he comes in as like a new kid, doesn't he? Or has he just always been there? He's come in as a new kid, and he's just like the good-looking kid that comes in.
From Chicago in the series also.
Oh yeah, he is from Chicago. Yeah. Yeah.
He was the first boyfriend. He was literally there episode 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First boyfriend. And like I thought like he got along well with like everyone. Like, he was really nice and like cared for Rory a lot.
Yeah, first impression of Dean was good, right? You know?
Mm-hmm.
He kind of became friends with Lorelai too, which is nice because they're Lorelai and Rory are best friends. So he like made sure that was like an important part of, getting to know Rory. And even though he complained, he would like go to all the stupid things that like when she made him go with her to the cotillion or whatever that was, like the coming out thing. I can't remember. Into society, like here's my daughter thing. He went with her.
Yeah, that was like a big thing of like, because Rory was like back in touch with her grandparents and like she was starting, like it was very much like there was like a, in the most non-dramatic way, but like a class divide of like he was very much like he had to work during high school and she didn't, kind of thing. So he felt very much like out of place sometimes in Rory's life.
Definitely. Yeah, I think a lot of the time where she took him to the grandparents' house for the first time and Richard, Rory's grandfather, was not pleased. He was like, who's this kid? What are your dreams? Where are you going to college? What kind of grades do you get? And like, damn.
Yeah.
He was like,
no.
Oh, I'm not ready. I'm a like junior in high school. Like,
yeah, let me live.
Also played by Jared, I'm going to say his last name wrong, Padalecki.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you say it. Yeah. So if you recognize him, probably from Supernatural. He's what the fuck? What's his name? Why can't I think of his name?
Sam.
Yeah, I keep wanting to say Dean. It's not right. His name is Dean in Gilmore Girls. Oh my god, have you seen that? This clip keeps showing up from Supernatural when him and his brother on that show, they're like taking a Hollywood set tour, and they're like on the little cart, and someone's like, now we're about to approach the set of Stars Hollow, recognizable from Gilmore Girls, and he turns to him, he's like, we gotta get out of here.
That is funny.
So good. Yeah, so should we talk about Dean's pros first?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. One of my first pros was that he was like nice to Lane and like would hang out with Lane too. Lane is Rory's best friend, who I feel like actually on my 8 millionth rewatch, Lane is my favorite character and has the best story arc of everybody. I'll
She's
die
great.
on this hill. It's great.
Yeah.
Her whole show long arc is just perfection.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like I liked that he, was like getting to know her friends and like, they chilled and all the little scenes they had. Or he's like, "Are you going to the hotel sleepover thing? This could be fun." Blah blah. Like I liked how he was nice to her friends too.
Yeah, that's important.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I liked sorry, there's a bird outside that just has a weird beak, and I can't tell if he has food in it or it's got an extra large beak.
I just looked out my window like I'd see it. While we're on the topic of outside distractions, I think someone's moving right now. So if you hear a lot of noise, that's what's
okay.
going on out there. So apologies.
Yeah, I think I like that Dean cared a lot about Rory and was like there. I think. Oh no, we'll get into it in the cons. Yes, that's what I liked. That's really it, I think. From what I can remember, that's the pro.
Yeah, it's funny. Like the first impression of Dean, I was like, he was the best boyfriend. I didn't like him the most, but he was the best one. But then the more I watched it, the more I was like, uh-oh. But it's like hard because they're like 16. This is probably like their first real relationship, kind of. Well, definitely Rory's. So
yeah,
when you're 16, life's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that. He was like nice to Lane and hung out with Lane. Except for the time when she kept calling Dave and then hanging up, and he's like, "Why don't you just say something?" It's like he could be hanging out with a girl, and I was like, "Shut up, you're so mean." And then I liked that he did like make an effort with Lorelai too, and like hung out with her as well. Yeah, I really just didn't mind Dean the first time around, but yeah, now I have more cons than pros after this.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Fortunately, oh Dean. I will say though, how the whole Dean. Like the Rory Dean to Jess thing sucked. Like Rory sucked during that. I hated that whole like I like this guy, but I'm dating this one and blah blah blah. I was like, girl, I get it's your first relationship. You're just like learning about boys and dating and whatnot. But like, damn, this fucking blows. Like, terrible.
Yeah, not well handled.
I did feel for Dean the first time around, and then it's just been rough from there.
Yeah, become less and less empathetic.
For real. I'm like, I still am empathetic because I'm like, Rory, come on, this sucks. This behavior is terrible. But yeah, it just spiraled really bad. Things got out of control.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk about how terrible he is now.
Yeah, let's dig into him.
Oh, Dean. You go right ahead.
I think the episode when we just like find out how like traditional he is, and that for me, like even watching the first time, I was like,
oh, the Donna Reed episode.
Yeah, where he was like, yeah, this is how I expect, like this is how I picture my life living, and I was like, I don't like that, and like Rory didn't like that either, but like just didn't sit well with me, and I was like, huh, okay.
Yeah, it was weird because it's like if a woman wants to have that type of life, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But to expect that of someone is just sucks. And so like, especially for her to be like, I don't want that. Like, that's not like what I see in my future. And he's like, well, I think it's a good thing. I'm like, can you listen? Like, it's just how she wants. Like, let it go.
Yeah.
Like that whole episode was weird, honestly.
Yeah, it was just really uncomfortable.
Then she threw him a Donna Reed night, and I was like, I don't know.
To like prove a point.
And then they were talking about feminism. I'm like, I feel like I get what they're trying to do, but there's so much happening in this plot that's like ping-ponging back and forth where I'm like, wait, what? What is the message here? Like, there's a lot going on. Yeah, I agree with that. He was just kind of oh, Dean. I didn't like how he would just get pissed right away if things didn't go his way. Like when he told I feel like we probably should have said this at the beginning, but we're obviously, if you haven't seen the show, but you're going to, there's going to be a lot of spoilers in this episode. But like, yeah, basically anytime they were like at odds, he would just get pissed, and either he'd let her know, or he'd be like, I'm not mad, even though he was mad, or he would just like not say anything, just like be resentful. Like, I think of like when he said I love you for the first time, and she was like, oh, like, well, I have to think about it. He's like, what's there to think about? And I'm like, you guys are 16, and like she doesn't have to say it back. Like, oh my god, like,
Yeah.
so pissed. Oh my god, just ridiculous. Or like when they had that whole fight, it's the episode where she's lost the bracelet, and he's like, why don't we go, like, let's go watch Lord of the Rings or something. She's like, oh, okay. And he's like, what? I thought you loved that movie. And he like blows up over it. I'm like, everyone calm down. Like, it was a lot of little things like that where I'm just like, ay, ay, ay.
Mm-hmm.
Might be, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the one, oh, what's the one where she's trying to get extra credit for Harvard, and so she's like building a house, and then she finds out she's like so far behind extracurriculars. He's like, I thought we were gonna hang out today. She's like, I'm really stressed about Harvard. Like, I need to be doing all this stuff. And he's like, oh, I guess you don't have time for me. And I'm like, can we not? Like, what's happening?
Literally.
Oh, Dean, come on, man.
Yeah.
And in that thread, it's interesting. He would never talk to Rory about it. He'd always talk to Lorelai. Like, when the whole Jess thing was happening, he was never like, Rory, are you feeling this way? Like, can we talk about this? He would be like, Lorelai, why isn't Rory hanging out with me? It's like, oh my god. So annoying.
Yeah.
They just didn't talk. They never talked to each other. It was
No.
weird.
Poor communication.
Big time.
Yeah. Which makes sense as like a first relationship too.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair. It was just rough. I don't know. I feel like he started out really great, and then you were like,
Yeah.
yeah. I hated too how, like, even though he went and did all those things with her, like he went to the cotillion. I can't remember what it's called. Like, whatever it was, like the
Yeah.
Daughters of the American Revolution ball or something like that. Like, it's something like that. He's like, fine, I'll go. Like so like annoyed about it. Even the grandparents, like going to meet them for the first time, he's like, are your grandparents gonna be there? Like, he was just always so like you're gonna spend time with this person, like you're gonna meet their family, you know what I mean? Like, it was just a weird expectation. Yeah. Especially because I think Lane mentions when they first start talking about him that like he had dated a girl for like a year or something in Chicago, so it's not like it was new, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was strange.
Mhm.
Dean. Oh, Dean.
Yeah. And then he got like, didn't he get like the person he starts dating next, they got married like right away.
Oh my god,
Don't
yes,
they?
he married
No.
Lindsay when they were 18.
Yeah.
That was crazy. That
Really
was
stressed
so
me
weird.
out. I was like, oh god.
You know what I think about a lot too is like, so he went to that, okay, so when Rory and Jess are dating, right? And then they go to that party at Kyle's house. Dean is dating Lindsay at the time. They even run into each other and they're all chatting. And then Rory and Jess have a fight. And then suddenly Lindsay's not there anymore. And Dean gets into a fist fight with Jess. And I'm like, and then the very next episode is when he tells Rory he's marrying Lindsay. So I'm like, what the fuck happened? Like, if I'm Lindsay being like, my boyfriend got in a fight with another guy, or in a fight with his ex-girlfriend's boyfriend at another party, I'd be like, the fuck is going on? And for them to be like, let's get married. I'm like, oh no, what's happening?
Yeah.
It was strange. It was a weird plot progression.
Mhm.
God, that was crazy. That's yeah. And that whole relationship they had later on down the road was not it. I hated it.
Yeah.
Much.
It was bad.
It was bad. And like, I talk with my sister about this a lot. I'm like, I just don't get it. Like, because to me it was so not Rory. I think Lorelai even says that. She's like, this is not you. Like, what are you doing? And like, when I watch it, I'm like, you know what? Like, as a young adult, not to excuse the behavior at all, but as a young adult, you're making mistakes because you're just like, a lot of these situations are new to you, you know, and whatnot. But my issue with Rory is like, anytime she did something wrong, or something bad happened to her, it was always like, I don't want to talk about it. It's like, that's not it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's not it. You know?
You have to.
Yeah, you have to talk about it. And also, like, she did that every single time throughout the series of, like, when something was bad, she's like, I don't want to talk about it. It's like, haven't you learned by now that solves nothing? Like, it was just a weird growth progression that was strange, and I was so mad about it.
Yeah.
And how Dean treated Lindsay during it, I was like, fuck you, man. Fuck you for real.
Yeah.
Like, both of you are terrible right now. Which is annoying because that was right when the Lorelai and Luke storyline happened. So it's just like,
Yeah.
it's my least favorite episode and my also my favorite episode because the best thing happens and the worst thing happens also. And you're just like, fuck, this sucks.
Yeah.
That's all I got for Dean. I am not team ever again, I don't think. Sorry, bud.
Yeah, there's no redemption really.
Yeah, no, not really.
Mhm.
So wild. They're so so fucking wild.
It's so fast too, I feel like.
Oh my god. And you know what's annoying too? I think now I'm thinking about it. In the episode, it's later on in the show where Luke is thinking of buying the Twickham house for Lorelai. And so he's like working at it as like a volunteer or whatever. And then Dean shows up and he's like, she's gonna get bored. Like, they want more than this, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck you, man. Because you went into that relationship with Rory knowing she was going to Harvard, like knowing she had these like aspirations. And I think he was just jealous of her because he was like,
he didn't know what he wanted to do.
yeah, he wanted the smart, cool, funny girl. And then once he had her, he's like, I don't know what to do with her. And it was just like, it was such a, it gives the ick. It gives the ick, man.
Didn't know what to do with someone with ambitions and dreams.
Which is annoying because, like, he was starting to have them too. Like, he was like, yeah, I'm going to school, I'm going to do this, blah, blah, blah. But then it just, like, he was just so resentful a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like, to still be bringing that up to Luke years later, I'm like, come on, man. Like, what's happening?
Yeah. That's, yeah.
So weird. Where's the red flag, green flag guy? Where's he at? All right, let's not talk about Dean. I'm tired of him.
Yeah, me too. I'm over it.
Yep.
Cool. Jess.
Jess, so complicated.
He's the classic bad boy, comes in.
Ugh.
So angsty.
Yeah, this is my thing with Jess. I feel like I told Olivia this too when we were fighting about this. I think Jess already kind of had a mark against him from the beginning because it was clear from season 1 that Luke and Lorelai were endgame. And, like, I know this probably doesn't matter, but I think there was just this weird idea of, like, oh, Jess is Luke's nephew. So if Rory's dating Jess and Luke is dating Lorelai, there's, like, some weird kind of connection happening. And I feel like, whatever was happening writer-wise, it was, like, kind of, like, just not going to happen at all from the beginning. And, like, that's just, like, wild to think about. It's like, it's just such a strange, like, their storyline is strange too. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
God. Yeah. So Jess is Luke's nephew, and he gets sent to Stars Hollow to live with Luke because he's just like being the worst 17-year-old ever. He's like fighting and not listening to his mom and all kinds of craziness. So he kind of barrels into the town and wreaks chaos and havoc immediately.
Yes, but he has a soft side and he loves like reading and poetry and stuff.
Yeah, that was one of my pros for him. He's like, he matched Rory a lot in that way. Similar interests, similar like kind of way of thinking and intellect, and
yeah,
and like they were good for each other like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it seemed like he like did a good job of listening to Rory. Like he, I guess, from like an outside perspective, he could see her relationship with Dean and be like, what is happening?
He asked her on the sleigh ride. He's like, "What do you and Dean talk about?" Like when he asked that, I like lost my fucking mind. So good. What do you guys talk about? Oh my God, so good. Another pro I had for him, most of the time that was true, was like when he was upset about things with her, he told her. Like I remember like when he found out her and Dean were hanging together, like accidentally at Miss Patty's, he was like, "Is there something you want to tell me?" And she's like, "What are you talking about?" And then when he brings it up, she's like, "It's nothing." And he's like, "Okay, like can you just tell me so I don't find out about it through like flyers posted around the town?" Like I appreciated that. Like it was weird that he was good at talking about things like that, but not good at talking about anything else.
Yeah.
Definitely a pro though for Jess. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. What else did you like about Jess?
I really don't. I like struggle to remember this era. Like I don't remember what breaks them apart unless it's because she goes to the new school that does it. I don't remember what it is that.
Well, he finds out he's not going to graduate high school on time because he's been skipping.
And he runs away.
Yeah, because then at the same time he finds that out is when his dad, who he hasn't seen since like he was born, comes to town and is like, "Hi," just like, "Oh shit, what's going on?"
Yes, that's what it is. So then so they don't even like really break up. It's just like Rory's like sad.
Yeah, he leaves and then he keeps calling her but not saying anything. And he calls her on her graduation and she's like, "Is this you?" That scene broke my heart when she's like, "Jess, is that you?" And he doesn't say anything and she's like, "Okay, look, like I'm moving on. I'm going to school next year. I'm leaving for Europe." The worst is when she goes, "I think I might have loved you, but I have to let that go now." And I was like, "Oh God."
So sad.
So sad. Tragedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I really think they were well suited. Like, my only like bad things were for him was just like he was so like angry at everything that it was hard for him to get past that. But I feel like he actually treated Rory pretty well, and it wasn't too much arm twisting to get him to do things. And like, not that you should make someone do that, but like when like the grandma thing, he was like, "Okay, fine, like I'll go."
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was like, when I go back next time. I was like, okay, like he had so much potential.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which brings me to my point of, I read this post once on a Gilmore Girls forum, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. It was like, young Jess didn't deserve young Rory, but older Rory didn't deserve older Jess. Like,
Yeah.
oh God. Like, once he, like, it sucks, like, how he left and everything. But when they meet up again, when she's in college, and he's like, he's written a book, he's got a job in Philadelphia, like, he's like, you know, doing things, he's passionate about stuff, and he was like communicating with her. That whole, "Why did you drop out of Yale?" Like that.
Yeah.
Shit, I think about it all the time. Like he was so like once he got it together, he was great, and I was like, I wish this could have worked out when they were older. Like, Rory was a mess in college.
Yeah.
Why did you drop out of Yale? And that scene in Year in the Life when he sees her through the window, like, oh God, it's just fucking devastating. Literally the one that got away, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh.
Yeah. He was just too unreliable as a kid. He was too angry, too fucked up. I never liked how he talked to Lorelai. That kind of sucked.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and like Rory was always like, I know, like she was so crazy about Logan. She's like, I know you have feelings about this, but like, you know, whatever with Logan. But with Jess, she was like, yeah, just talk to my mom, however. And I was like, this sucks. Like, fucking hell.
Yeah, that's true. I think you had like an issue with authority. So like any like adults, I guess, he'd just be like, no, fuck off.
I know, for real. Oh my God. Yeah, I just feel like that could have worked, but it didn't. But again, I think the other thing too is like, I know they had to introduce him into the show a certain way, but I think like the whole Luke and Lorelai thing was like superseding the Jess and Rory thing right away. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's true.
It's kind of a strange dynamic. I don't really know.
Yeah.
doomed from the start.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And honestly, Khan also, like, now I'm thinking about it, is he was pursuing her knowing she was in a relationship and, like, actively working to, like, destroy that relationship. That fucking sucks also. Again,
Yeah.
young Jess, not really it. Older Jess, mature Jess, makes
Very
sense.
it. Yeah.
Very it indeed. I always love that episode where he comes back for the wedding and he reads the self-help book that Luke gave him. And then he's like, well, you know, when you want to have a good rapport with someone, you have to prove you care about them, blah, blah. And they have that little hug and I'm like, oh, so good. So good.
Yeah.
They were so funny to me, that little dynamic when he pushes him in the lake.
So fucking funny.
So good.
Ugh.
All right, are we talked out on Jess?
I think so.
Yeah. On to Logan.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to take the lead here. I got thoughts.
The first time watching it, I was like, who is this guy? I was like, yuck. Ew, arrogant, rich, gross. But then, like, I think, like, the more, just, like, watching more and more of it, like, it just seemed like from where Rory was at, he, like, matched that in a way. Yeah, like, I think they were good in the sense of, like, I think they met at, like, a good time to be together. Yeah, I'm still blanking on a lot of things, but I think, like, he grew a lot from his relationship with Rory. He was like, oh, like, I'm like, because at first he was just very much like a guy, like, messing about in college, not really caring because his whole life was planned ahead of him anyway, so he didn't really care. Whereas, like, once he met Rory and, like, she cared about a lot of things, which made him start to, like, kind of care, which was cool. So then he started to, like, be an adult and, like, figure out, like, what he wanted, I guess.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
I definitely didn't like Logan in the beginning. I liked him more after they broke up, and then got back together. Like, that Logan made more sense to me. Yeah, like, it was kind of the same thing where, like, he had a similar intellect and interest, like, was kind of on that same level with Rory, but they weren't so similar that it was, like, boring or annoying. Like, I think he, like, challenged Rory a lot too. Like, I do think of, like, their first conversation where they immediately start arguing about, like, classism and, like, stuff like that. Like, that, I think that was good for her. But yeah, early Logan was just like a hot mess. Like, I didn't get it. And she tried to do the casual thing, and then she's like, you know what, I can't do this. And he's like, well, fine, I guess I have to be your boyfriend then. I'm like, what? Like, this ultimatum shit. I hate when people are like, oh, you're issuing an ultimatum. Like, I hate ultimatums. Like, it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was like, I'm not issuing an ultimatum. Like, we'll just be friends. And he's like, no, that just can't be. I'm like, dude, relax. Yeah, he was just annoying to me. Because I think, like, the biggest thing is, like, Rory cared so much about school and, like, learning and, like, you know, growing like that, and he just didn't. And I feel like at that time that rubbed off on her in a really bad way, like, knowing what we know happened. So it's like, I don't know. And I hate their fight they have after Jess comes to, where he's like, you know, don't put your partying and shit on me. And, like, she's like, I'm not, like, it's all we do, but, like, I'm not trying to blame you for me not going back to school. And he's like, well, that's what it sounds like. Like, they were just like, oh God, like, he just didn't, why are they all bad communicators? Why does everyone suck at talking? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so annoying. I wrote apathetic as fuck on my con list because he just didn't give a shit. Like, it's oh my God, what did this one say? Didn't try. Oh, my sister and I talk about this a lot. We were talking about how, like, he challenged her intellectually, but in terms of, like, life. Not that it's anyone's job, I think, to push you as like a human, you know, to, you know, go after the things you want. But like I think that was a big part that annoyed me, like, because she drops out of Yale, she doesn't go back for like 3 months, and he says something in their fight like, you said you were never going back, I gave you 2 months, you went past that, don't put that blame on me. I'm like, you didn't give her 2 months, like, you didn't do anything, you know, like, you were just like, yeah, my girlfriend's not going to Yale anymore, it's fine, whatever. And like, again, it's not on him to push her, but like, him taking that on during that fight, to me, said he was feeling a certain way about it, just like didn't do anything, you know, like, it was just a weird, like, he pushed her to do things that were like dangerous, or like didn't like help push her in things that he knew she cared about, really, you know what I mean? Whereas Jess was immediately like, what are you doing with this guy? Like, we used to make fun of guys like this, like, why did you drop out of Yale? Like, you know, like, it was just like a weird, it was weird. It was just weird.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch it again soon and like see what my thoughts are now.
It's just strange. And then him trying to get her back, that I kind of like I was like, okay, it's nice to see him, because he broke up with her through his sister. He didn't even tell her. Do you remember that? Like,
no, I don't.
They have that huge fight in the bar. I don't think we see him again. And then she like moves out of her grandparents' house. She goes back to Yale. And then she like gets a call from Honor or something, his sister, during Thanksgiving. And Honor's like, I'm so sad to hear you guys broke up. And she's like, Logan told you we broke up? Like, I thought we were taking a break. This is so fucking
right.
horrible.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Just
true.
Ridiculous. That whole yikes. But I feel like I'm talking a lot and I'm really sorry. Just stop me if I'm taking over. Another thing my sister and I talked about, because my sister is squarely Team Logan. I was like, why? And she was like, because I feel like I saw the clear vision the writers were going for in terms of Rory with Logan. Like, Lorelai ran away from this world of like all these like crazy wealth, rules of society. You must be a certain way, blah, 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 conduct yourself. Lorelai was like, I don't want that life, I'm leaving. Whereas Rory was the complete opposite. She liked going to her grandparents' house. Like, she's liked, you know, being in that environment. She joined the DAR. She did the coming out to society thing, like all that stuff. She liked being there. And Logan came from that world. So the fact that Lorelai was running from it, Rory was running to it, and eventually her and Logan did get to like an actually really good place. Like, it was actually kind of a weird, like, cool growth to see like Rory being like, no, this can be a good thing and something you choose and something you make your own, this life, you know? And so it like kind of made sense that she then fell for someone kind of from that world. Like, I just think that balance was so cool and like kind of was making sense, and then it just didn't happen in the end. It's so strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I just hated that they were together again in Year in the Life, because they weren't really together. They were just...
Yeah, that was weird.
She's doing the same shit again. She's like cheating on people. I'm like, what the fuck? What is going on? I hate it. We learned nothing.
Yeah. It's wild.
I didn't really like Year in a Life, to be honest with you.
I loved it the first time I watched it, and then the second time I watched it, I was like, wait, that's it? And I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, it like hit things for me that were definitely left unresolved from the show, but the rest of it, I was like, this doesn't feel like anybody grew or changed or learned. Like, yeah, it just kind of fell a little short for me. Honestly, the last 2 seasons of Gilmore Girls, I was like, oh man, I don't know where this is going anymore, and I'm sad because it's so rough. Oh man. But yeah, so I can see how Logan would maybe be like a lot of people's choices, but I don't know. I just couldn't get over that initial impression of him for some reason. It was just not a good one. Not a good one.
That's fair.
Yeah. Very rough. Man, these boyfriends.
They're silly.
They're silly. For real. And I wanted to touch on, too, I was thinking about this recently when I was rewatching it. The Luke and Lorelai thing feels strangely familiar to me in terms of the Nick and Jess thing from New Girl, whereas, like, I feel like we didn't get enough of it. it was built up so much, like this is where we're going, so many great little moments and pockets of building it, and then when we had it was short, and I didn't like it because it wasn't like what I thought it was going to be. Like I was like, these are two people who are like care about each other and lift each other up anyway, and then when they're in the relationship they don't do that. So it's like, it was so weird. It was like so sad. Sad about it. Oh, Gilmore Girls. How Gilmore.
Wasn't it I think it was when you were when you were watching it for the first time, and for the longest time you really loved Chris.
What?
Was it you?
How dare you?
I could have sworn it was like in the group chat with you, me, and Anna, and you were like, I love Chris. I don't understand why everyone hates him. And then we were like, what? Unless maybe it was Anna, but I think Anna's seen it. She was like the first one to have watched it, I think.
I'm running to our group chat right now because I'm thinking that's slander. I hope it's slander because fuck that. Fuck Chris.
That'd be hilarious.
If I ever said that, I take it back. I don't believe that. Please, for the love of God, no fucking way. Chris is not it. Chris. I'm just looking up Chris. Oh my God. 6 messages. What in the world? May 24th, 2022. I hate Christopher.
Oh.
All capitals. I finally finished season 6 and I am devastated. I hate Christopher. Why?
Okay. If you're thinking of someone else.
I was going to say, how dare you?
So sorry, I take that back. My apologies.
It's funny too, there's another message in that group chat from December 14th. You messaged, did you know that Chris from Gilmore Girls is a therapist now? And then you said, I don't think I could ever trust him. And I responded, I cannot imagine telling Christopher hated my most traumatic moments.
Oh, I remember he like popped up on my TikTok and I went, what? And he was like talking about serious stuff and I was like, what? What's happening? Yeah, I was like, what's going on?
God. Christopher Hayden, for those who don't know, is Rory's dad, who was really not in her life ever until kind of near the end. And he was fine. Oh my God. And he looked, in Year in the Life, he did not look any different. He looked exactly the same. I was shook. I was like, damn, he like did not age at all. This is great. So insane. Yeah, no. Fuck Christopher.
The worst.
The worst. So crazy. He does have some of the best lines in the show, though, which like
he's hilarious. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, he's so funny, and he just has such great lines. His first line was crazy. Like when he pulls up on the motorcycle, he's like, "Hey, nice top, take it off." And they're like, "What?" And he takes his helmet off. Like, Christopher. I was like, whoa. So insane. Yeah, I was rewatching the episode. It was the end of season 2, I think, when Suki gets married. And he comes to the wedding, and they like kiss on they kiss, and she's like, this can't happen. He's like, what? And they're like fighting about it. And he's like, I got a room upstairs. And she says something like, you were that sure you'd get lucky? And he goes, I never thought I'd get this lucky. And she's like, oh, that's good. It's like, oh my God, he's the worst. I hate him. Christopher. That was another one I just saw in my search too. I sent a message that was like, Luke and Christopher getting a what is it? Luke and Christopher have a fucking fist fight? What is going on? Oh my God. This is so oh my God. This is hilarious.
Yeah.
How funny is this too? I said we're talking about Logan. Hannah, Logan is the worst. Garbage human scum. I say, says he's mature and serious, immediately flies to Vegas after losing millions in a bad business deal. Like, hello? I just don't think Rory and him work well together. I do not get it. You said, ha ha ha, I really like Logan, but also get the restoration. Then Anna just sent a bunch of red flags.
That's so funny.
But know
Or
what?
what
That was 2 years ago. I have perspective now.
Yeah, we're changed.
Yeah, I get it now. I get it. Man, I forgot
Yeah.
about the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Logan.
Good God.
He had some good lines too. As much as I hate that fight, when they talk about how she's like, you have all these doors open to you, blah blah, and he's like, I see one door and I'm being pushed through it. I was like, damn, you know,
Yeah.
like, I have some empathy now. I don't know. Yeah. I love that show. I just love that show.
Yeah, I really want to rewatch it because I feel like it's been so long since I have watched it. So like, because the last time I did a rewatch, I like remembered everything, so it was more of a comfort show. Whereas now I feel like I can watch it and be like, oh, I forgot about this. I forgot.
Yeah, I'm the worst in the sense of like if I like we've talked about this. If I like something, especially like a show, especially, I will immediately rewatch it. I will rewatch it a million times. I cannot tell you how many times I've rewatched Gilmore Girls. Like so, I put it on now just for background noise. So I'm like, it's like a total comfort show for me. But I appreciate that like for its faults and a lot of character flaws that you kind of realize as you rewatch it, I still like coming back to it because it's so deep that way. Like the whole dynamic Lorelai has with her parents is, I think, just amazingly written. Like, especially because it could have been a lot of like fighting or it could have been a lot of healing, but it does such a mix of both. There's so many just little pockets of like they make progress and then something happens that sets them back and then they make progress in different ways. It's so brilliant.
Yeah, they do. It's such a good job with that show of like just capturing those like bits of life that are like very crunchy, I guess, and like how to deal with it. It's really cool.
Yeah, I think all the time about the I know Emily Gilmore's the worst. I stan her though. I think
I love her.
I love her.
her.
And also it's funny, Paris is also in my top 5.
Me too.
My sister could not stand Paris and I was like, oh, just you wait. Paris, man, Paris Geller is a queen.
It's hilarious.
Queen. Like when they were drunk at spring break, she's like, let's just go home. I have freaking flyer miles. I'll just get us on a plane and get us out of here. I was like, oh, she's amazing. But yeah, I love Emily Gilmore so much. I think of when her and Lorelai go to that spa weekend and she's like, why can't you and Rory, we have a relationship like you have with Rory? And Lorelai's like, Rory and I are best friends first and mother and daughter second, and you and I are mother and daughter all the time. And I'm like, oh, it's just so brilliant, so perfect, amazing.
Yeah,
just amazing. It's so many,
so good.
It's like I wish I'd known about it. Like when we would do scenes in acting and we'd have to like acting 1 and like have to find shit, I'm like, I would have done so many Gilmore Girls scenes because they're so good. It's so characters are so dynamic. Like, yeah. And it's funny too, a lot of people consider it like a pick-me girl fantasy, and I'm like, I can see that, but it's also like, I think a lot of it came from Lorelai, just like her total hard-on rebellion. She was like, fuck this life, I'm not doing it. So she like, you know,
yeah,
delved
definitely
into stuff outside of her world, and I think that's where it comes from. So
yeah,
I don't know. Wow, I just love that show. I love it.
Yeah, it's great.
Watch
Great
Gilmore
find.
Girls.
Do it.
All right, I think that's probably it, right? That's all the boyfriends.
Yeah.
Do we need to talk
Yes.
about Paul? Who? Did you bring up with Paul yet?
What room do you think we were in?
I think we were just in our living room on our couch in Chicago watching Gilmore Girls on our opposite sides of the couch that we would always sit in talking.
I agree.
Yep.
Yeah.
So incredible. All right, well, I'm off to rewatch Gilmore Girls.
Hell yeah.
So good.
Hell yeah. Well, yeah, thanks for listening.
Yeah, let us know which team you're on.
Yeah, and if you're into A Court of Thorns and Roses, join our Patreon for our monthly book club.
Yeah, it's been quite a ride so far.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah, I can't wait to finish this one so we can read the second one, because I really haven't read that. I only read the first one. I have never read the second one.
I can't wait.
You've read them all.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like it too when I haven't read or seen something and someone else has, because I think it's fun, like, to like bounce ideas and just be like, is it right? I don't know.
This is like the first time where I felt okay. It's so hard for me to know something and not be able to say anything, but like this has been a good like challenge for me to just be like, you can't ruin it. So it's been good.
It's funny. When I was editing our first episode, there was a time where I was talking about something, and you just go.
I just realized that I will now, because I was like, I'll make faces, but she hasn't noticed. But now you're editing the videos, so you'll notice my faces.
No, I don't want you to think about that, because then I sit there going, is it because I said something right, or I said something really, really wrong? Or if I said, like,
Okay.
or like there was a moment where I was like talking about how I say Pharaoh's name, and I was like, Pharaoh, like the Fae, and you were like, this? And I was like, okay, ooh, this is fun. Like, are we learning new things together? Like, so don't even think about it. Make the faces if you want.
That's fine.
I'm not telling you what
Yeah.
to do. But...
I'm a stonewall it the whole time.
No, don't do that. You might be right. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I've never read this before. Yeah, join us, because I'm losing my marbles big time.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, goodbye.
Bye.